Afternoon or evening, Koletin, and usually I record with my webcam, but unfortunately my webcam was not working for this module. Not really sure why, but anyways, I'll get right into it. So we have chapter 11, and I'm just going to do one question from each. So chapter 11, question 1, all of us have people who have given us bad or good, or given us good and bad advice about speaking, giving presentations. Recollect a time when you were given advice. Discuss the various suggestions and tips they gave. How did you incorporate their advice, and how did taking those steps help or hurt your presentation? How does this advice given by authors differ from what you received? So most of it's on 11.1.2. Personal advice that I've been given was speak, don't read. So you don't want to be reading what you wrote or anything on a piece of paper. So you want to have it at least memorized or an outline of what you know. They also said be yourself. So if you're a funny individual, incorporate some funny lines. So it's speaking from the heart. Make sure people are participating. That's one of the most important things in that. You don't want people to kind of ignore your speech. So keeping people involved keeps their interest. And then they said, what is it? Triple P TV. So it's pace, pitch, pause, tone, and volume is what that acronym stands for. So those are one of the biggest things that they told me. Sorry, it's kind of moving. I'm trying to figure out a way to hold this. But so the authors discuss that on that page that I mentioned, 11.1.2, that it's basically building confidence, and those are some things that you should do to build confidence. Knowing your audiences helps. So, I mean, some people say that you should picture your audience as everyone's naked, but I don't personally think that's a good strategy. I don't think that's a strategy at all that someone should apply. They should apply that if they know them, then just talk to them like normal individuals, or that I recommend that they should talk to them as if they're family. So when you talk to someone as if they're family, you can usually just have a simple conversation. And make sure you're using like small hand gestures. So your hands in front, not behind you, not in your pockets, not on your side. Your hands should be, doing very small gestures, especially when you're speaking on media TV, but I'll get into that here in a bit. So that's one of the main things on that. So for bad advice, like I said, it's picturing those people or those individuals as, as they're naked or any of that case. So, let's see what else. So how that has helped me in my life for that scenario, I've had to talk between a couple hundred Marines to NATO nations as well. So I did this one air-to-air controlling flight, which it was over 600 flights in the air, and I had to do a debrief. And in that debrief, I had to talk to Australian, Japanese, Korean, British, and a bunch of different other U.S. NATO nations about, what they did right, what they did wrong, what I did right, what I did wrong. And I had to stand up in front of every single one of them all at the same time and discuss between each one and answer questions. And it was pretty interesting scenario. And when I went into this, I don't think I've ever had in a speech before prior to giving that. But to captivate their their attention, I used the live feed from the flight on one of the aircrafts to show, to captivate some of their feelings about the F-22 and some other things. But it basically caught their attention for about 10 minutes, and then when I noticed people started to drop out after about 10 minutes, so I had to start making people participate. So I had to ask them questions, or be like, hey, when you were flying, 10 nautical miles from this aircraft to this aircraft, why didn't you give a call out, reverse GCI or what, aircraft stuff. So anyways, that definitely helped me, and it didn't hurt my presentation at that time. So we're going to move on to chapter 12. Chapter 12, question 2. Why is it necessary to choose words with care and style while giving a presentation for the media? Discuss the various tactics an individual can use to enhance the likelihood that his or her message will be quoted or broadcast. Cite your text in response. So, in 12.3, they talk about the media response, or, not media response. Let me find it real quick. They talk about adapting your presentation for the media is the actual headline. So, choosing your words with care and style, meaning use words that are memorable and attention-catching. So, like Martin Luther King Jr., he used repeatable words. So that's like, I have a dream. And he said it over and over and over. And it's still quoted to this day. There are individuals who quote him quite often. I had friends in the military, and I've even met people even outside the military that just say, maybe jokingly or as a serious thing, they say, I have a dream. So, it's still quotable. So, using repeatable words like that, your thesis within your main idea would be probably something that you want to reiterate to your audience, or iterate in general. If you're trying to convey a message to the audience when broadcasting, like I said, just repeat your keywords. So, another thing that you should do while you're, on media broadcasting is make sure you're dressed nicely. That's pretty important. I don't think anyone's probably going to take too much information from someone that's dressed like a bum. No offense to anyone, but if you're dressed like, you live on the streets, they probably won't pay too much attention to what you have to say. So it is what it is. It also shows, like, if you're dressed nicely, that you want to represent something, or you need to represent something as well, which is extremely important. So, and so choosing a style when conveying to an audience, that's like personal opinion. That's like how you want to convey to your audience. So that's your speaking style. That's gonna be how what are the impromptu I forget what they're all called. So you have the impromptu speaking, you have memorized speaking, and you have the extemporaneous, I don't know how to say that one, and then you just have the manuscript speaking. So you use those styles, you choose the one you want or what you prefer, whatever you're comfortable with, and then stick to it. So you don't want to go outside the line or necessary. There is one specifically that presidents and CEOs specifically use, but for broadcasting and stuff, but those are just recommendations. I wouldn't consider using them if you're not comfortable with that form. It does make you within the time limit that you're probably going to be given. So, you might only have 20 minutes, and you probably only want to use 15 of that 20 minutes. That way the audience, you're not exceeding your time limit, which is, you should never exceed the time limit. So, and that's all I have for these two chapters, and thanks for watching my module, discussion 9, and have a wonderful day. See you all in class tomorrow. Thanks.